Throughout this mini-series, I'll show you how to create an advanced race system for your Roblox game. This system will prompt each player to join the race, the player with the most speed will win and be rewarded. This system is brilliant for any game which involves increasing player speed, such as a speed simulator. I will be assuming you have your own speed system before watching this video. Check out my speed simulator series if not. If you missed the last video, please check it out or you cannot complete this video. Let's get into it. Today we'll be creating multiple race maps and have one randomly selected each race. This will be the last part to this mini-series. Let's start by creating a few more race maps. I'm not going to go too in detail with this because we've already covered creating the maps. I'll just grab our race map here out of server storage. I'm going to rename this folder to Race 1 just because we're going to have multiple maps now. So all I'm going to do is duplicate it. I'm going to make sure collisions under home here is turned off, because if it's turned on, when I duplicate it, it's going to go above it. I'm just going to duplicate this with collisions off, rename this to Race 2. I can now drag our Race 1 back into the race folder. And now I can design Race 2. If you want to make Race 2 from scratch, you can do that. But just for the sake of time, I'm going to quickly skim through this. So I'll just do a Race 2. Make a very quick map. I'm just going to change the colors up, but the same obstacles. You can do it however you want. I'm going to do 3 races as well. I'll get back to you once I've done all 3 races. Here we go. So this is my Race 2. I'm now going to duplicate this and rename the duplicated one to Race 3. And what I'll do is drag the Race 2 folder into our race folder under server storage. Now let me design Race 3 and I'll get back to you once that's done. Here we go, here's my Race 3, more of like a wintry theme, and I'll drag that into the race folder as well. Now we've got 3 races in the race folder. Now let's finish our race system script. Where we've got race map, our variable here, we're going to change this. This will now become race maps. And this race maps, rather than waiting for the map to exist, we don't have a map under the race folder anymore. We now have a bunch of maps. So we'll just do race folder, get children. And this will get all these maps in the race folder and store them in this variable. Now we can see we've got a bunch of errors here. All these little red orangey squares are errors. So let's go down to the first one, which will be in our start race function. Because we don't have a race map anymore, we can't set the can collide to true. So we need a chosen map. So go back up to the top, and just below this module, I'm going to create another variable named chosen map. And by default, it will be set to 0. And this will be the map that has been chosen for the next race. So now, rather than race map, we can say chosen map.wall.canCollide equals true. Now I'm back up to the teleport player remote event. Again, changing our race map to chosen map. And that's all this really is just replacing race maps with chosen maps. Same in the start race, rather than race map, we'll do chosen map. And same with the finish race, we'll do chosen map instead of race map. Now this is where we're going to change quite a few bits, and this is where it will get a bit confusing. First is create a function to load the first race. Because our chosen map starts as being 0, we need to choose the first race. So function, load first race, and in here we're going to get a map index. So local chosen map index is going to be math.random. And we're going to pick a random number between 1 and the number of race maps. So hashtag race maps to get the number of race maps. So we have 3 maps stored in our race maps variable. So this will get a random number between 1 and 3. And we can use this to pick a map. Now let's actually load the race into the workspace. So race maps, open square brackets, chosen map index, close square brackets, dot parent equals workspace. And this will pick this random map. So race maps 1 is race 1, race maps 2 is race 2, race maps 3 is race 3. It goes alphabetically, so race map 2 might be race 3, but that doesn't matter too much because it's random anyway. And now we can say chosen map equals race maps, chosen map index. And then we can call the start race function. Now just below here we can call load first race. And just below this racemap.finish area.touched, we can remove the start race call now. Because we don't want to start the race there. We want to load the first race and then we start the race. Now I'm going to go to our while wait 1 do loop. And we're going to make a few changes here. We can no longer do if racemap.parent is race folder to check if the map has been loaded, if the race has been loaded or not. We actually have to check if the number of children in the race is equal to the number of race maps. If a race is in the workspace, then the number of children here, it should be 3, but the number of children will be 2, because one of the maps is in the workspace. So if the number of maps in the race folder is not equal to the number of maps there should be in the race folder, then we know one race is in the workspace, so there's a race in progress. So we can say, replace this if statement with if number of server storage dot race colon get children, so hashtag server storage dot race colon get children is equal to the number of race maps. Then, if this is true, we want to pick a random map. Local chosen map index is math.random between 1 and the number of race maps. Race maps chosen map index dot parent equals workspace, and then chosen map equals race maps chosen map index. And we've done this exact same code up here in the load first race function. So we could make this its own function, but there's not much point. In fact, actually, let's do exactly that. Go to our load first race function, cut that out. Just above it, create function random map and paste it in. And now we can call the random map function and then we can start the race. Again, under here, we can, rather than doing all this, we can just call random map. Now I'm going to copy all of our race map.finishedarea.touched event here, copy all of it and then delete it. Make sure you've copied it. Now under the else in our if module.time is greater than 0, so if the race is in progress, then while we're updating our GUI timer, just below that, paste this in. So we now have a touched event in our while wait 1 do loop. Now while this may not seem too efficient, you've got to remember we're only checking this every second. So we're only going to be checking if they're touching it every second. So it's not the end of the world in terms of efficiency. If this was a while wait do, there was no 1 in here, we'd be doing this very often. We'd be doing this, multiple times per second. This won't be very efficient. But because we're only doing it once per second, it doesn't really matter too much. Rather than race map, we'll do chosen map. And then the rest is the exact same. And that is it. So the reason we've got to check if they're touching the finish area in the while wait do is because we can't detect the finish area of the chosen map when the chosen map changes. Because this won't change. This is sort of permanently stored in a way to whatever the original chosen map is, which is 0. So we have to constantly update this. If that makes sense. It's a bit confusing. But we have to check if they're touching the finish area on the chosen map, not the original map. We can now close the race system. We are now finished. All that's left to do now is test it. So hit test and play. I'm just going to test it with 1 player because there's not too much point in testing it with a local server because we've already done that. Let's hit join and it's picked our random map here. That's perfect. What I'll do, I'll just do 1 more race after this. And hopefully we'll get a different map, just to show you it is picking a different map each time, and to show you that this is working correctly. Let me just close this side panel up a little bit. There we go, 3, 2, 1, and now we're running to the end. The race is ending in 60 seconds. Touch the finish area, we get teleported back correctly. And now I'll just wait for this race to end, wait for our winner pop-up to appear, and then I'll wait for the next race to start, and hopefully we get a different map. You may get the same map again. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. Again, this is random. At the end of the day, you have a 33% chance of getting each map. If you have 3 maps, I'm assuming. You can have more, you can have just less, you can have just 1 if you want. But you can have 20 maps if you'd like. It's up to you. But let's assume you have 3. You've got a 33% chance of getting 1 map. You can get the same 2 maps in the row. That is perfectly possible. The chance of getting 2 maps in a row, obviously it gets slimmer the more maps. If your chance of getting 5 of the same map is very slim. There we go. So the map disappears and I've come first. Hopefully we get a new map next time. If not, I'll just wait for the next one after that. Okay, so it must have nearly been around 30 seconds. Just waiting for it to appear. Hopefully it should be any second now. There we go. Oh, it is the same map again. Okay, that is unfortunate. Ignore that error. That's not related to the race system. So I'm just going to dismiss this one and I'll wait for the next one again and I will get back to you once the next map arrives. Okay, so that map has gone now, so we should after about 30 seconds, the next map should spawn. So it's been about 20 seconds-ish. I've not really been keeping track, but hopefully in a second, this next map will spawn. So I just want to keep an eye on it. Any second now. I want to keep talking through this. There we go. And we have now got a different map. There we go. Now I can join this one and we can do the next race, which I'll just show you the whole race works. As you'll see now, it works absolutely fine. Counts down 1 second. Finish the race like normal. You now have a fully functional race system in your Roblox game. If this helped you out, please make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on so you never miss an upload. Please consider joining our Discord server. The link is in the description, where we're trying to build a community of future developers. You can ask for programming help, help others, or just chat there too. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.